How you gonna leave your imprint on this world? Be authentically you. 'Cause now is your season to live out your reason. Just be you. How you gonna leave your imprint on this world?
Welcome to another Authentically You Imprint Spotlight Show.
Listen, here we are. Here we are again. We're back again with more exciting guests.
Yes.
Today, our guest is a very exciting young lady. Very exciting young lady who is
a lot of things going on.
Have a lot of things going on, from entrepreneurship to engineering, all the way to apostleship.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's overwhelming, some of the things the young people are doing today.
Wonderful things people are doing.
It is absolutely overwhelming in how they pour themselves into what they are doing.
Absolutely.
So listen, sit back and get ready to enjoy. Chris, tell us, who are we about to meet now?
Well, I am going to read a short piece from the bio of this wonderful, fantastic lady that we're going to spotlight tonight. She lives in Maryland with her 4 children. She is the founder of Honeycomb Cosmetics, which was inspired by her desire to create products specifically for the uniqueness of not only herself, but for her family. For many years, cosmetic brands have not created inclusivity and diversity for the African American community, and many have struggled with their hair and skin care needs. Liberty took matters into her own hands and began to experiment tirelessly in her home to spotlight, enrich, and highlight all that is beautiful. She created an all-natural products that met the needs of the hair and skin that have been overlooked while meeting the needs of all people. We are happy and pleased to welcome to the show today the creator of Honeycomb Cosmetics, Miss Liberty Cheney. Welcome to the show.
Cheney. Welcome, Liberty.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Awesome,
Yes.
Awesome. It's so wonderful to have you.
This is actually excellent. It comes at an excellent time because just the other day, our president signed into law that Juneteenth, which is a celebration for Black people freedom. What a coincidental thing it is for us to have liberty in the form of a young Black woman who is actually taking advantage of the freedoms that were given to us, but it has not been so easy. So let's just say this: it has not been easy for Black people to make it in this society. We love everybody. We love people all together because, number one, we're children of God. We believe they're all children of God, but we had a rough plight. And to be a Black woman, you know, coming from the Maryland area, as we talk to her, we're going to discover how she came about this. But however it came about, you need to know that this point in history, this is significant.
It is.
Because through all the things that we've been through all the trials that we've been through, waiting all these years to even be recognized, Juneteenth is right upon us. We celebrate it as a federal holiday for the first time today. And on tomorrow will be Juneteenth, and this will air right after on Monday. Yeah, the day you're looking at it right now, but I have to remind you of the significance of this weekend that we're in.
Yes.
So we're very thankful to the president and to Congress, to those who enacted to get this done. We know it's just a step towards where we need to go, but we are especially proud that we have this young lady here today. Liberty, we say again, thank you and hello.
And since he opened up with that, do you have anything that you want to add to the conversation about the significance of this day?
Well, I'm extremely hype about this because I've been celebrating this with my children for the past 3 years. So for Juneteenth, we learn our history and we buy Black. I let my kids each pick a place that they want to go, and we will travel, we will go there, and we shop and buy Black. Wow. So I'm super excited because a lot of times we have not been celebrated in our country. So to get this level of celebration where things get shut down and people can enjoy their families, I am elated.
Yes, wow. We've celebrating. We're out of the weekend that we're celebrating, but Juneteenth is not just about a weekend.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
It's about a change of attitude. It's about a change of heart. It is about not only being recognized by the nation. We need others to recognize our plight. Mm-hmm. That's for sure. Sure. We need others to recognize who we are and what we have suffered. And but more than that, we need you to support Black business. What's a better time to support Black business? What a better time for you to order honeycomb products and support the Black business. Not only is it a Black business, it's a woman-owned, woman-operated Black business that you guys need to support. I'm telling you.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Now, how we came to meet Liberty is through those of you who have been following us here on the Imprint Show. Our very first spotlight was of Mr. Sean Phillips.
Yes.
And Mr. Sean Phillips, who is of the Trader's House. He's an investor, stock investor.
Yes.
And if you want to, you can go back to our YouTube channel and watch some of his videos. But he introduced us to Liberty Cheney, and he speaks highly of this young lady.
Amen.
Highly.
Yes, he does.
So we want to start our spotlight of your business. We want to talk about Honeycomb Cosmetics. Now, let me just say that Liberty is, as we said before, she's an apostle, she's an engineer, and she's an entrepreneur and an author. Did I say that? Yeah, and an author. Yes, look at the book. Look at the book.
Oh, yeah,
Awesome. So let's start this conversation by your telling us what, I mean, I read a little bit of the about part of your website, but really tell us how you came to create the Honeycomb Cosmetics.
Okay. Since it's Juneteenth, can I talk a little bit about my DNA and how my DNA caused me to have the power to create this? I had a great grandmother, and her name is Ethel Green, and Ethel was in South Carolina. And Ethel was a very tall, statured woman. She was probably about 5'9", slim build. She was just strong, and she took up any space that she was in because she was a proud Black woman. Well, Ethel had children, and she had a husband named James, and my grandfather was affluent in his area because he had a company where he was chopping down trees. And my grandfather was this tall, very dark complected man, and he always went noticed. Like wherever he went, people noticed who he was. Well, my grandmother decided she wanted a job, and my grandfather said, "No, I got this. You're not gonna work. You're gonna look cute and take care of these kids with your tall, cute self." So my grandmother stayed taking care of the kids, but then my grandfather died on his job. And when my grandfather died on his job, my grandmother went out and she got a job herself and to take care of her kids, and she was working for a white woman. And one day, this white woman disrespected her. And my grandmother said, "I will never allow this to happen again." My grandmother packed up her kids. She said what she needed to say to that lady. Okay, my business on that. Ethel said what Ethel said.
Right.
Ethel packed up her children, and they moved to Baltimore. And my grandmother got a house. She put her kids in school. My grandmother got a good job. She taught her kids how to have a good job. And when I met my grandmother, of course, as a baby, and I started growing up with her, I can remember before my grandmother got really sick, she would teach me. She would teach me that I was beautiful. She taught me to love my hair. She taught me to love my skin, and that my hair and my skin wasn't popular. But my grandmother would always tell me that. And she would tell me how beautiful and how strong I was. And right before my grandmother passed away, my grandmother said to me, she said, "Get your education, because people can take cars and houses away from you, but they can never take away what you know." So when my grandmother passed away, I educated myself, and I started instilling that in my children. And then I had a situation with my youngest daughter with her hair. She didn't I didn't know how to take care of her hair because her hair was of a grade that was a little bit different than mine. It's very, very thick. And she started feeling insecure, and she's 5. So I went back to what Ethel told me. Get your education. I educated myself on the different types of African American hair. I began to educate myself on the products that I was currently using in her hair. And I wanted to find out who made the products. And when I started looking, I'm like, hold up. How can this person that looks like this tell me what we need in our hair? I started realizing that there was alcohol, different chemicals in the products, and it was breaking and making our hair brittle. So I did my research. I got my education, like Ethel said, and I ran away from what was comfortable, and I got uncomfortable like Ethel did, my grandmother. And I went in my kitchen and I went to work with a stick blender. I started using aloe and shea butter and mango butter. And I just began to test things, and I started coming up with my own products. So now my daughter's hair is not brittle. It's not dry. Her hair is grown by leaps and bounds. Both of my daughters. Now my sons, I don't let them cut their hair so that I can practice the products in their hair. So my sons are walking around like this. I love big afros. My son asked me today, Mommy, can I get a haircut? No. I need that hair. I need that hair. So I created the products. They're all natural and they smell so good. Some of my ingredients I actually get from Africa as well, just to ensure that nothing is tainted, nothing is diluted, nothing is different from what I'm told that it is. The only thing in my product, because I need it for shelf life and legal reasons, no type of chemicals are in my products except for preservatives. But everything is all natural. Some of my products have honey, shea butter, mango butter, olive oil, grapeseed oil. I have a lot of natural things, and they work great.
Awesome. Wow, that's amazing. You said something amazing. When you created your products all natural. You create all your products with things that we use every day, things that are common to African Americans too, from Africa that they use. They didn't use all the chemicals. And it's great to see us dealing with things that deal with us. There are certain things that we need for our body that are just becoming available to us, if y'all don't mind, just like Juneteenth has just become available to us. A lot of things we experience because of the liberties that we now have. So I want to first say to you, I'm proud of you.
Very much so.
Very much for what you're doing. What you're doing is not just for you and your kids, but for every woman out there that's been burning their hair out for years.
Right.
For every woman out there that has been dyeing their hair with all these chemicals and things like that. And they've been taught to think that they have to change themselves to be something they're not. And the expense of that, the expense of their health, at the expense of the loss of their hair and all these things. So we appreciate you in bringing us products, you know, that are healthy, that are safe for us, and they're made with us in mind.
All right, so we're going to take a short commercial break. When we come back from that break, we're going to talk a little bit about just what we were saying about how we need to, as a people, how all natural products are going to help us to embrace who we really are. We'll be right back after this commercial.
What is it that inspires passion? That thing that keeps us from thinking that we know it all, but instead makes us say, I have to know more. What is it that makes us keep trying after we've fallen time and time again? It's the thing that makes us smile after we finally figured it out. When what used to be difficult is now second nature. It's the joy of knowing our hard work was not in vain, but instead has made us better as people. It's the beauty of learning.
Yeah, welcome back. Here we are. We are back again with Liberty Cheney. I mean, this is great. So we want to talk about this Go ahead, Chris.
So with your making all natural products, and you, as you said earlier, that the only thing that's in your product that is not natural is the preservative. You have to be able to hold some shelf life.
Yes.
Talk about how important it is in this space that we're in now, as we have come through COVID, as we've come through Black Lives Matter, as we've come through the whole boiling pot of where we have been since late 2019, all through 2020, and now into 2021, landing on the day before Juneteenth, the day that we celebrate. Talk about how important it is that we embrace who we are in our culture.
Awesome. Well, so long we've been made to think that our Black skin isn't beautiful. We've been made to think that our Black texture of hair isn't beautiful. And for us, honestly, that's survival. We can withstand heat. Come on here. That keeps us beautiful. That gives us longevity. When I'm 90, I'm going to look 30. I love it. It's something natural that God put in us. And when we cannot embrace our natural beauty and we begin to put chemicals in our hair, we begin to tear up the insides. A lot of Black women, I say Black women, but a lot of Black women have issues with fibroids, cysts, and uterine cancer because of the chemicals in relaxers. Because chemicals in the different hair dye, that stuff is not for our bodies. So with all that has happened with the pandemic and with us dealing with Black Lives Matter and with Juneteenth, the bill being passed to make this a federal holiday, I just believe that the door is being opened for us to love ourselves. The people before us, the forerunners, they have bust open the door so that we can embrace who we are. Guys, I work for a federal agency, and just 4 years ago, I couldn't go nowhere like this.
Exactly.
4 years ago, I couldn't go. I go to work in dashikis.
Yeah.
We come from people who love color. We use plants to paint our lips and paint our eyebrows and different things. We come from all natural. So the door has been open for us to go into our federal workplaces and embrace our beauty.
Mm-hmm.
I even happy about this pandemic. You know how many women took off their acrylic fingernails? You know how many Black women said, listen, nobody can burn me up with that creamy crack. I got a house and put some twist in it. You know how many people said, listen, I can't go get that grease that got all that alcohol. Let me see if I can whip up in the house. It gave us opportunity to be creative. We couldn't get them lashes burnt into our that. We had to come from behind these masks that have been created by our societal bondage. We have to come out and say, oh gosh, this chocolate doesn't look good. My Lord, my full lips don't look bad. We have to embrace it. So I'm happy for everything that transpired. I thank God for the COVID-19 locking us down to really look in the mirror and embrace
having a good look.
Yes, I thank God for Black Lives Matter coming forth and saying, guess what? You Black, you can't change it, embrace it.
Embrace it.
Embrace it. Love it.
Absolutely. How long have you been an entrepreneur though?
I have been an entrepreneur probably all of my life. I've always had it in me. I was willing to hustle and sell. But as far as Honeycomb is concerned, Honeycomb was birthed during the pandemic.
Okay.
During the pandemic,
that's
like,
exactly,
oh my God.
That is exactly the point that I wanted you to make. That this came forth as a result of the pandemic. So go ahead and talk about that.
So when I was home, I realized I could not go to the local beauty supply store to get Cantu, which was burning out my daughter's hair. So as I started researching, I started grabbing things from Amazon. Amazon became my best friend. I started blending things. I started making mistakes and then fixing things based upon my mistakes in my home. And during the pandemic, I was able to start my business, and I'll say it, in the inception of my business, within the first 30 days, I made $5,000.
Awesome. Now that's encouraging. That is encouraging and inspiring to someone who's going to watch this spotlight and say, wait a minute, this is possible for me too.
It's very possible. It's very feasible. It's just that you have to first, to make all natural hair care products or skincare products, I make skincare products as well, you have to embrace who you are as a Black person. You can't try to change what you already have. You just have to make it to where what you have is healthy. That's my key, making it healthy. I want my skin healthy. I don't want it lighter. I want my hair healthy. I don't need it to be longer.
Right.
It's beautiful.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, that is wonderful. That is so amazing because it all leads us back to who we are and who God made us. God is awesome in his making because he made us all different. He made us very unique. Each race and each person has a uniqueness about them.
Absolutely.
Of course, we experience our uniqueness in Africa, but not many of us get to go to Africa. We have been so westernized and Americanized that we don't realize the importance of getting in touch with ourselves with natural products.
Yes.
You made a point that's very good. Embrace who you are, and what's the best way to do that is to shop black.
Shop black
for those things that are made for you.
Made for you.
Shop for you. Look at the information right down below. We have it there with Liberty.
Honeycombs.
Honeycomb. What a
.org.
great opportunity to mark this weekend. We just came out of an exciting weekend, exciting celebration that's set aside for us. Why don't we do what it is it's set aside to do, which is to shop?
Yes.
Amongst our own. Find someone that's doing that. And here we are bringing you someone that you can shop with right now today. All across the world. Listen, the mail will get it there.
It will get it to you.
You can order. You have internet. You can be in Europe, and maybe they don't have products for you in Europe. Guess what? You can get them here.
Honeycomb has it.
Honeycomb has it, and a click of the mouse, a click of the button will get you there.
Awesome.
So yeah, just shop. And do that. Well, it is wonderful to hear you say that, and you said that you educate a lot of people. A lot of people, when you talk about your education, they think that you're someone who have not really put in the school. They think you're talking about reading the labels on the products you buy to mix to mix your product. That's not Liberty. That's not Liberty. She holds degrees in other fields. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that so the people can understand that you don't just up and decide to do something without research.
Okay. So the Lord has graced me to obtain an education. So my degree is actually in bio pre-med. So I understand biology. I understand plants. I understand skin. I understand hair. I understand black hair, black skin. But I do have an education in those areas. But I'll be honest with my product. The majority of what I learned was from my own issues with my own body. And I started researching. I started reading things on the internet. I started getting books. But I'll be honest, because I'm a woman of faith, I believe in the Lord. Some of it God showed me. Some of it God was like, well, you see people putting perms in their hair and they use gloves. So why you put that on your head without a glove on your head? Those little things just start pricking my spirit.
Wow.
So maybe we're going to get away from anything with a perm. And I did look on a perm box one day, and I looked at every one of the chemicals and I said, okay, let me screenshot this, and any ingredient that I'm going to get for my products, let me make sure and use this as a model of what not to have.
Right.
And then from there, I started researching, and I started seeing what the effects of some of these products were. When I found out that it caused cancer, and I was a person that was suffering from lupus, and all of a sudden I'm not getting relaxers. I'm not putting all this shampoo in my hair filled with alcohol and chemicals. I'm no longer having pain crises. My vision is clearing up. My skin is clearing up. My hair is growing back. That's how I obtained it. So some of it was from my secular worldly education. Some of it was from God, and some of it was me simply doing a Google search. What's good for Black folk?
That is totally amazing because I mean we don't hide the fact that we believe in the awesomeness of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ,
Not at all.
who gives us the wisdom and the knowledge to do anything that we do. All wisdom comes from God. All things that we do are inspired by God. And He brings us, it's amazing how we headed down one road and we get ourselves educated in one field, and then we rely on the revelation of God to bring us into another field.
Yeah,
exactly.
And when He brings us there, we find that the scripture is true, that the word of God is true, that all things work together for my good, that nothing was wasted.
That's right.
Nothing was lost with it, but every piece of information, God has done what He promised He would do. He brings it back to my memory. So they're mixing up products, and God's been throwing instruments.
Look, I'm mixing up products. I'm like, that $500 book in biology class my dad bought me was worth it.
It's worth it.
Well invested.
Well invested. And we brought this conversation up so that you know that this is not just something that's coming off anywhere. It's just not coming out of anywhere. There's intention, there's thought with it, there's thought given to it. And guess what? If you're African American or has any African American in you, any type of DNA, you know that we have difficulty finding products for our skin, for our hair, and it is an up and down, trial and error things. And then when we find something we like, although there's a black face on it, we also know that the chemists in the lab had no idea about your DNA and your structure and the real issues that you face with your hair. And that is that's not a slam to anybody. There are some good products out there, but I'm trying to tell you, there's nothing like getting from your own that's made for you.
Can I say something?
Yes.
So one thing that when we were going through the pandemic, I had to realize that I was taught to not like Africans or to not like being from Africa, because even though I've been here, originally I'm from Africa. There was a lot of stuff that was put in my mind being, from the Western civilization. So I sought out straight up people from Africa and asked questions, because I'm like, your teeth look good.
Wow.
How are your teeth this perfect and you don't even have access to braces? Why is your hair so thick and strong? Why don't you have a pimple? I've never seen an African person. They don't get cancer. So I'm like, what are we doing wrong? So I made friends with some people straight from Nigeria and began to ask them questions. And they started saying, oh, our bones are stronger. Oh, our blood is stronger. We don't get cancer. We don't know anybody with cancer. We don't know anybody with these issues. And this is why. And they started showing me things that have been stripped from our culture that is universal in Africa through all of the different tribes. They started showing me what was stripped from me as far as even my diet.
Wow.
One woman told me, she said, it's great you're making all of these oils. These oils are wonderful, but y'all American Black people drink a lot of sodas. The sodas mess up your hair. All of this sugar, we don't eat all this sugar. This is why y'all got diabetes and your hair is breaking off.
Wow.
They started telling me even about diet.
Yeah.
And with my customers, because I have people who have alopecia, I have people who have psoriasis. I create things for your specific need if you request it. I also help them with their diet if I see that their diet is also a cause of hair loss or the issue with their skin or psoriasis. Like psoriasis, I didn't know that psoriasis was a fungus. So if you feed fungus with sugar, it's going to continue to grow. So you go to the colleges, you pay all this money, you get this shampoo, but you eat a handful of gummy bears, guess what? You've just fed the psoriasis.
Yeah.
So these are the things that I found out from literally tapping into my culture and asking about the beautiful things that I was taught to ignore.
Wow.
I was made to think that Africans, let's just be real, were like lowly, like they were uneducated. They didn't have social status. That's how they depicted on American television. So I started talking to them. They're like, we got a Louis Vuitton over here and beaches. What are you talking
about? I love that. So listen, we're going to take another short break, and right after this commercial, we'll come back and we'll talk about, share with us some of your products.
Okay.
Be right back.
Yeah, here we are. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Listen, this is exciting. Liberty's going to show us a few of her products and talk about a few of her products. While she's showing these products, you can go right online and get them.
Yes, you can.
Yeah, you can go right online and get them. The information is written right down there under there right now. So as she talk about these products, go ahead, type it into your computer. Go ahead, type it into your computer and go ahead and
follow along with us.
Follow along with us with these products so that you don't forget it. The reason why I want you to do it right now is because you know how we do. We see something great, something we want to try, and no sooner than you hit this button, you're going to forget.
Yeah.
So I want you to grab your phone, grab your computer. I know you got it in your hand.
Right.
So go ahead. You might be watching the show. Don't click off the show to type this in. Type it in on your phone while you're watching the show on your computer or whatever device is. But here it is. Tell us about a few of your products, Libby.
Okay, so I have a few of them in front of me. I'm not too touchy with my products because I believe in sanitation. Mm-hmm. So I use gloves, and once I make a product, I package that product, and when I'm about to ship that product out, I put gloves on again, and then it's in a box. So I didn't bring too many in front of me because I don't like to touch them too much for reasons. And they're all natural, so I don't want to put anything in there after I put preservatives in.
Right.
So,
thank you. Makes sense.
Yes. So one of my most popular products is a hair mask. And this hair mask, I got this recipe from the women in Chad, Africa. So I met a woman from Chad, and her hair was, past her kneecaps. It was like really, really long. So I asked her, I said, well, what did you do? And she said, well, all of our hair is this long. She sent me this YouTube link, and she proved a point. All of the women in Chad, they had this long, thick, strong hair. So she told me there was an herb that they use, and it's called chebe. So I began to put chebe in all of my products. So this mask has a chebe powder, something called amla. A lot of people have heard of that. Amla powder is in there. I can't tell you all the other ingredients because it's my recipe. But the main ingredient that promotes the hair growth is something called chebe powder. Now, chebe kind of looks like a black dirt. Mm. One thing that I've learned about being African American is you always need something in your hair to hold the moisture. We don't have to wash our hair every 3 minutes. We don't have to do that. We need to let it get some of its natural oils or some of the natural oils that we might physically put in on our own. So this chebe mask, this is a hair growth mask, and it is phenomenal. This has a shelf life. So it can stay on your shelf for 1 year. And the way that you use this mask, if you have severely damaged hair, is you put this on your mask for a day straight with a shower cap, and you just allow this mask to stay in your hair, and then you wash it out. So it looks like specks of dirt are in here, but chebe powder looks exactly like dirt. I also have a lot of herbs, and my herbs come directly from Africa. I won't get any from here. The herbs are directly from Africa. I also put in rose petals and rose hip, which are great hair growth agents. One thing I like to tell people about my products, some of the products have honey. So if you have issues or sensitivities with honey, it's annotated on the product. But some of the products have honey. So honey helps with the itchy scalp. Honey helps with inflammation, which happens a lot with black hair. Our scalp gets inflamed a little quicker and a little easier because, let's face it, for us that's in America, we're not eating the diets that our bodies were designed to eat. So it deals with inflammation. It deals with hair loss. I had a woman who had cancer, and once she was cleared by her doctor, we started using this on her hair, and what would normally take probably 6 to 9 months of hair growth, she got in about 4, which I was super amazed and ecstatic about. Another one of my very important products is my shampoo bars. My shampoo bars also have the chebe powder, and I love these because they have these little prongs on the bottom which allow you to massage your scalp. Black hair must be massaged. We all know when we were young, we had that one aunt that was like, part my, scratch my scalp.
Scratch my scalp.
It's healthy for our hair. That is healthy. So this is designed to shampoo your scalp, and it lasts a long time. This bar can last you, if you wash your hair once a week, this can last you about 2 months. It doesn't require a lot. It just suds up, all natural product. Some other things that I have that I won't touch are my creams that I have for eczema. The cream for eczema is called Milk and Honey. Milk and Honey is filled with all natural products, and it will relieve eczema, if not clear it all the way up. I've seen people have had scaly skin, their skin would peel, but by using this cream, which has a light scent of milk and honey, because it actually has milk and it actually has honey, it healed the skin. Another product that I do have, I have a charcoal face mask. That's great for black skin. I have beard bars for men. And they, because I'm a woman of the faith, they have anointing oil in them. They also have frankincense and myrrh in them. And for a black man's skin, it keeps them from getting the end. I have a man that's one of my clients. He's in the military. He has to shave his face every day. He uses this bar of soap on his face, and it keeps his face from breaking out so that he can shave and be regulations. I also make shampoo, and I make conditioner. My shampoo and conditioner are handmade, no alcohol, none at all. I do have 3 hair growth oils. One is black rice oil, one is white rice oil. Another one is called liquid gold. Liquid gold, I don't care what's going on with your scalp. Liquid gold will heal it. That also has chebe. The black rice oil is designed for a person whose hair is pretty healthy, but they want it strong. It'll make your hair really strong, and it'll grow it long. White rice oil is for a person who was on the creamy crack, or a person who still uses heat on their hair. It protects your hair, and it also repairs your hair. I have something called chebe butter. Chebe souffle. And I normally use this in the little girl's hair, because you can put this in your hair for ponytails. Of course, adults can use it, but there are moms who are like, hey, what can I do for my daughter's hair, for her ponytail, or her locks? So this chebe creme brulee has everything that you need to keep your child's hair moisturized, braids or locks, ponytail. I also have, for the skin, I have sugar scrubs, because us black people, our skin can get super dry. So these sugar scrubs, which are all natural, will exfoliate your skin, open up your pores so that your pores can drink up all this good body butter that we have.
I love it.
Those are some of our products.
I love it.
Oh, great.
You have said quite a few products that I will be talking with you offline about.
Yeah.
It's just like everybody say, you heard the man say, come get my money. Yeah, come get my money. We coming for yours too. Look, you're going to have to order. Listen, order one product that you, especially if you have any particular issue that you talked about that's specialized. I'm definitely interested in the cream for the eczema. I have a grandson that has eczema, and the parents have been trying different stuff, but it leaves the dark marks and all this stuff as they try to.
I have no soap for that.
Yeah.
So if a person has been scarred from eczema or other things. I have this because my face was filled with a bunch of marks because I had lupus. I don't have that no more, but I had lupus, so my face was scarred. I started using it. It's like an oatmeal bar. I put real pieces of oatmeal in it, and I don't put honey because a person who deals with eczema, they can't handle honey. Okay. So the oatmeal bar, it heals spots.
Okay.
And it's a whole bunch of butter in there.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, it amazes me anyway how children now come up with this stuff that we didn't experience.
We never experienced it.
And when we did experience, we always had an Arnold grandma that had a recipe.
Right.
They whipped it up. Look, I'll be the grandma.
Right? No matter what the ill was, they go up in the kitchen and whip something up. Whether you hungry or sick, they hit that kitchen, and when they come back, take this, rub this on there, boy. You ain't gonna have that no more.
Yeah.
And sure enough, it's amazing and how we let things slip out of our history,
out of our culture,
and out of our culture.
Yeah,
things that worked for years,
for a lifetime,
for a lifetime. They worked,
yeah.
and as we got a little bit more educated, and thought we were more educated than our parents, who could afford the educations that we were afforded, we thought that they didn't know,
and they know,
and they knew far more than we did.
They knew. Our children are the ones that suffer for it, because a lot of things that they have suffered, you know, we didn't suffer. Simply because we always had that aunt or that grandma or that person in the family who would go back and have these remedies that's been passed down from generation to generation, and no doubt most of them came from Africa.
Yeah, exactly.
And was passed down for generations, and it worked for us. It worked for us, but we educated ourselves out of what worked for us. That's just the same way we do with the wonderful God that we serve.
Yeah.
We educate ourselves out of the simpleness of trusting Him to guide us and give us direction. And you heard Liberty talk about her degrees and the things she did. But the main thing that happened and the things that's changing her life, God gave her inspiration during the pandemic.
Absolutely.
To create her own business and everything. Yes, she has a job. She has a good government job working for these people and doing all these things. But God birthed something in her. What has God birthed in you through this pandemic? Will you listen? Will you listen? Will you trust Him? Is liberty enough to say that it works?
Yes. I love that. I absolutely love that. Wow. All right. So you know what? We're going to take another short break, another commercial. We'll be right back, and we're going to talk about some of your books.
Wow.
We'll be right back.
We'll be right back. Here we are. We're back again, and we're going to talk now. We done talk to the creator of these Liberty products.
Honeycomb
Cosmetics. You probably should have called it Liberty. But Honeycomb Cosmetics, we talked about her degrees. We talked about her work a little bit. Now we want to talk to the author. Huh?
Looks like we needed more than the top right? Put on another hat.
Now we want to talk to the author. What Liberty, you've written some books.
Tell us about them.
So I am also an author, and you're going to scream when I say this, and probably laugh, but I also publish other people's books.
Okay.
Okay. So I started writing books through my pain. I struggled being a pastor, a leader in the church, and expressing how I felt. Because, you always have to have this air of, I got it together, or at least people want you to. But God told me, Liberty, you don't always have to have it right, because the parts where you don't have it right is going to bring somebody else healing and deliverance, and it's going to be your ministry. So I wrote a book. My first book was called The First Lady. I wrote this book because I was a first lady. And being a first lady is so hard, because all the other positions in the church have instructions in the Bible, but the first lady, there's no instructions. You're just told you need to be the first lady. And when you make a mistake, people pounce on you. You're like, can I get a manual? This story is literally my heart on paper. And I outlined the garments that first ladies wear, and they became my chapter, like the lap scarf, the Bible, the makeup, the hat. I give the hat, the history of the hat and how it got into the Black church.
Right.
About the first lady's title. This book is a really, really good book. Let me get this off. Something in my heart is telling me I need to do a part 2 to this one, just telling a little bit about it. So this one is called The First Lady, My Heart on Paper. And it tells my story of being a first lady. The second book I wrote is called Shut the Hell Up.
Right.
Yeah, because a lot of people just simply need to shut the hell up. And the reason they need to is because of the sins of the tongue.
Book.
You probably have. This is, I don't feel like this is my best book, but I will go places and people have my book. I'm like, am I bestseller? But I think it's the title that people say is why at you. So I talk about the sins of the tongue. I even talk about being too quiet, you know. But this was a book that I wrote, and this is funny. I'm gonna tell a story. I was at work and I got this new boss, and he was talking and he was getting so angry. And I just looked at him and I was like, he needs to shut the hell up. And then God got me and was like, oh, Liberty, that's your book. I thought God was going to say, Liberty, why are you talking like that in your head? But God was like, that's your book. What area do people struggle with their tongue?
Wow.
So this is about the sins of the tongue. And God told me that sometimes we open up our mouths and our breath smells like fiery firmament from hell. And
wow.
This book depicts what that looks like. When you're condescending, when you're negative, when you always got an attitude. All of this is in here.
I'm definitely got to get a copy of that book. That sounds like me right there. And you know, and I just want to tell my audience right here and right now, because this is an opportunity for me with that book. I'm trying to tell y'all, listen, God is not shocked by your language. If you think that God is shocked by your language, he's not. Majority of the things you would probably laugh if God was to say what it is he wants to say to you. We only get offended with one another by our language. And what we got to understand, and here it is, this is even a little message right here. It's a short little message for everybody. And for those who are called by the name of God and call yourself Christian, listen, stop being so shocked and distancing yourself because of language that people have. If that's the way they talk, hang around them till you teach them better and till you show them a better way. But don't let that be your dividing rod with people, because there are some messages in all of them.
Come on.
The way we talk and the things that come to our mind as Christians. Oh yeah, y'all got shocked when she say that boss needs to shut the hell up. And y'all got shocked as if that don't come to your mind. I bet you have more things come to your mind than that. But that does not take away your salvation or anything else. So my message today is stop letting language divide, because out of that book, and I haven't even read that book, but I can tell you that book is talking about the stuff that come from your mouth. That seems to be seasoned in the season, but is the heart where your mouth speaks. Exactly. And your heart is doing more cussing at people than your language is doing. Okay, Liberty, go ahead. I just need to stop and take that break.
It's funny you said that. My baby came to me, my 5-year-old. Her name is Liberty as well, but you better not call her that. You got to call her Liberty. She came to me. She said, Mommy, do you know the most dangerous weapon you have? I was like, a 9mm. She's like, no, Mommy, not that. She said, your tongue. This was just yesterday. Read my book. She was like, no. But even with her saying that, God was reminding me, watch your tongue. Watch what you say to people. Watch how you handle people. You will remove people from being able to receive what they need to receive if you don't know how to handle that tongue right. The most recent book that I wrote is called Honeycomb. Jezebel's seducing spirit. She will assure you she loves you, loves God, but her God is herself. So this book talks about the spirit of Jezebel. I talk about how Jezebel destroys marriages, churches, workplaces, any type of area where there could be unity. This book talks about the destruction of it. It's actually my personal testimony of how a Jezebel spirit destroyed my marriage and how that Jezebel spirit tried to be in me. And so open, honest story about the spirit of Jezebel, how it affected me, how it destroyed my marriage, how it affected my children, and how, remember I said I was a first lady, how it destroyed people's faith and belief in God because of the position that I sat in. I just finished another book that will be on Amazon the beginning of July called I Am. And that book is about being an apostle, because I am a young woman. I am a woman. And some people might look at that like, how can she be an apostle? So this book explains the apostleship and what it truly is.
Awesome.
Wow.
I can't wait to get my hands on these books.
Yeah. We got to check them out. If we like them, we'll call you back and talk about it.
If you don't, call me and talk about it.
Hey, you shouldn't have said that, because you know I will.
That's good for an author. We need to hear.
Yeah, you know I will. I love it when people take the inspiration that God gives you, because in every walk of life, we need, every experience makes us.
Yeah.
Everything that we go through makes us. Begin to write some of this stuff down in your own life.
Yes.
And you'll be surprised how you can help people. Things that you thought
you can get delivered.
things that you thought was failure can turn into triumph, simply because the Bible declares that they overcame by the blood of the Lamb and what? The word of their testimony. In other words, they overcame because they went through something and then they began to testify about what they went through, meaning that everybody's not perfect. Only way you get a testimony is to go through a test.
Yeah.
If you go through a test and you don't come out with a testimony, you ain't done.
You're still in it.
You still in it. You ain't done. If your testimony ain't there, you ain't done. When you're able to testify, the writer was saying, at the testimony, you testify about the glory of God and how he brought you through. That's why I begin, we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the words of our testimony.
Absolutely.
Meaning we give glory to God. So in everything, and shut the hell up, that's glory to God. And First Lady, that's glory to God. And Honeycomb, that's glory to God. We're not talking about failure. We're talking about glorifying God and what we do. And here it is. If you think that's not the ultimate testimony to let you know that no matter what you've been through, God is still there. He's still moving. He's still doing. Honeycomb was birthed in the middle of a pandemic. And if God's going to leave you, he's going to leave you during the pandemic. But he said, I will never leave you, nor forsake you. So no matter where you are, he's there giving inspiration as he gives life to us.
Absolutely.
Man, I'm telling you, it's wonderful.
This conversation could go on for hours.
Yes,
because there is so much. I mean, the depth that we could go to in talking about these.
And she wore the right t-shirt.
She wore the right t-shirt.
And that's my motto right there. You got to be careful, because you will be part of my sermon.
You'll be part of my sermon.
Right quick and in a hurry. Probably most of our guests will tell you that, because people talk about what they do, and I see the glory of God in it.
Yeah.
Me too.
I see God in it. I see God all through it, and his hand all through it. When you should be down and out, when you should be this and you should be that, you wind up prospering.
Yes.
Even when you have made mistakes, even when you have been the downfall for others, God encourages you, pick you up. Yeah. And not only does he pick you up, he will give you a cosmetic line to make yourself beautiful and to present yourself and others beautiful before God. That's what God does. He turned our ashes.
Yes. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
I didn't wear
the
shirt. She wore the shirt. So go ahead.
You want to say something?
I said, I feel like shouting.
Yeah.
Because one thing I do want to say about my books, and I'm putting this out there, my books are my deliverance. Okay. My books are not to bash anybody else. My books are about liberty and what liberty had to go through. When I said in my head for my boss to shut the hell up, when I started writing this book, I found out where I wasn't handling myself right with my words. When I wrote the story about Honeycomb, I started writing about the spirit, and I was like, hold up, this thing crept in me. So my deliverance is in here. This is a psycho valve.
I love it. And that is one thing I was going to bring forth, that as you have written your books, it's therapeutic, first of all.
Yes.
It's very therapeutic, because you get to hear what's going on inside of you first, before you can get this thing out and bless somebody else with it, it definitely blesses and ministers to you. It's part of the word that comes back and cuts you at the same time. So listen, you have definitely blessed us today. You have blessed our audience today, and we would love to get you back on another spotlight show to really talk about. I really want to talk about. You said you also help other people publish their books. Delve into that and talk about that. So give a spotlight about that part of your business, right? That's part of your business.
Yes.
Yes. So we want to talk about
Ahava Publishing.
I'm sorry, say it again.
Ahava House Publishing.
Ahava House Publishing. Awesome.
Ahava.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So this hour has gone by swiftly.
Yes, it has.
And so we definitely have to get back together again because there's still so many other layers to Liberty Chain that we want to talk about.
Definitely.
Life can be hectic and sometimes overwhelming, but I know that my loved ones need me, the best version of me. That's why it's important for me to take time to sit with my thoughts and clear my mind. Because before I can care for anyone else, I have to care for myself. Self-care is essential.
Definitely. But listen. Right now, you have the opportunity to financially bless her in both areas, both her business and her authorship. So you can both order her books and you can order her product. What a blessing that would be during this great time as we are experiencing, and we're trying to heal as a country with our racial divides and the things that we're going through and everything else. Let's support one another through this. And listen, let me make this plain because I am a child of God. You cannot support your own by bashing others. So there's no other race that you can bash. Only thing you can do is look inside yours and support yours, and that will actually give you a love for others. Because you cannot love anybody else until you love yourself. So first love your culture without bashing other cultures, and then once you grasp hold to that and support that, you will find that you're an arm to uplift other cultures, and then that's how the world gets along.
We're gonna heal.
Because one day, God's gonna show us how it's done, and we'll all be living in peace and living in harmony. But until that day, let's bring heaven to earth by loving one another. Let's bring heaven to earth by loving each other. There's enough stuff in the world by itself, that we have to do. Let's enjoy our lives. Let's enjoy our culture. Let's respect one another and love one another all across this land. We thank you so much for every country that you have watched us from all 175 countries that we're in, all the stations that we're on. We want to say thank you so much from around the world. Whatever language you're listening in from all around the world, we love you. Wherever you are, from the north to the south, to the east, to the west, all over the globe, we love you here at Authentically You Imprint. Why do we love them, Chris? Because they're authentically them.
Absolutely.
Listen.
Absolutely. So we want to give you final parting words if you have something you want to say to the audience before we go.
I want to encourage everyone to press forward in your dream. Never give up, no matter how outlandish or weird or crazy it might seem. It might not seem like it's obtainable, but if you have a push and a press, you're going to get closer to it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Miss Liberty Cheney. It has been a pleasure to have this interview with you, to spotlight you. We're going to send people over to honeycombcosmetics.org to buy your products. We're going to send people over to amazon.com to pick up your books. It has been an absolute pleasure. So listen, continue to make this your season to live out your reason.
Be authentically you.
The question on the table is, how will you leave your imprint in this world? Listen, we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Be authentically you. 'Cause now is your season to live out your reason. Just be you. How you gonna leave your imprint on this world? Be authentically you. 'Cause now is your your season to live out your reason. Just be you. How you gonna leave your imprint on this?